Let's get to North Texas.
Okay.
The mean green of North Texas. We're doing our series of to-do lists, the 3 things that each FBS team in Texas must do to win and win big in 2017. And North Texas had a weird year last year. North Texas went 5-7 and still made a bowl because of their APR score.
Yeah.
They still made a bowl. They lost, and then they lost in a bowl to a team they had already beaten in Army, and they'd beaten them on the road. It was a very weird situation. It was an odd first season for Seth Littrell. And but I think that they have a lot of hope for a resurgence, and I think that it's well-founded hope. I think this is a guy, when he got hired, we were all really excited about it.
Yeah, I can't say enough. I know we've said it on this show, and we've said it on other segments, how excited I am to be going into a season with this much optimism for a lot of these teams.
Mm-hmm.
UTSA,
Mm-hmm.
North Texas,
Mm-hmm.
SMU,
Mm-hmm.
Texas should
Mm-hmm.
be better.
Mm-hmm.
We've kind of...
Yeah.
We've had like a 2 or 3 year stretch here where we're kind of looking at like one team to carry the hopes of the entire state, or 2, like Baylor, TCU. I think we've got a good mix of really exciting seasons ahead of us.
And I think that North Texas has to be lumped into that category of programs on the rise.
Yeah.
Programs on the rise, and it starts at the top. It starts with Seth Littrell. That said, I have heard from numerous people how impressed they are with Graham Harrell as their offensive coordinator. I've heard from many people about that. So that it's the entire coaching staff. But look, there is little doubt in my mind that North Texas is pointed in the right direction.
Yeah, and it's not just us. I mean, you talk to other writers around the country; they think it's going the right way.
They think
it'll be tough to hold on to Seth Littrell.
That is an issue. You know, that may be an issue. That's
a good problem to have.
Let's say they win big. I mean, all of a sudden he's going to start getting phone calls. But again, you're exactly right. That is a good problem to have. You'd rather your coach be catching the eye of other programs than not. So, how do they capitalize? How do they move forward and have a big 2017 season? I've narrowed down 3 things they have to do to win and win big in 2017. Thing number 1. Don't win the margins, win the whole game. This is going to sound like I'm bagging on the 2016 North Texas team. The proof is in the pudding. You went to a bowl game. You are one of only, you are one of the quote-unquote elite that went to a bowl game. So I don't want to crap on the 2016.
Especially after the year before.
For sure. I do not want to crap on the North Texas Mean Green because I think I think what they did last year was really, really good. That said, from a statistical perspective, there is no reason they should have been this good.
Yep.
They were, by pretty much any metric, a bad football team.
Yeah, we've talked about this a lot in the offseason. The numbers, the record is deceptive.
They are a statistical anomaly in that regard. And the way that they did it is that, look, if you look at you look up and down the list of stats, they were 101st in points per game. They were 95th in points allowed per game. They had one of the worst offenses in the nation, 117th in the nation in total offense. They didn't run the ball well. They didn't pass the ball particularly well. They didn't play good defense pretty much at all. This is their statistical profile is an ugly one.
Right.
But they won by doing little things. They won by coming up with big moments in little places. Mm-hmm. One thing that is huge for them, and this is going to sound crazy, you know who may have been their MVP last year? Eric Keena, their punter. I'm dead serious. Their punting was exceptional. It was something like 30th in the nation as far as taking their our friends at Football Outsiders have a statistic about punting optimization or something. I don't have it in front of me.
How often you pin teams back.
That's basically. Exactly right. Like how much of because I think that punting average is a little misleading because if you're punting from the 1, you can punt it 99 yards, but if you're punting from the 40, you don't want to punt it for 99 yards. Eric Keena was outstanding for them last year. He is gone. But that was one thing they did well. The other thing they did was they forced a ton of turnovers. They forced 12 fumbles. They were actually unlucky and should have picked up more. And then they had 14 interceptions, which is something like 30th in the nation. They came up with big plays in key moments, in little moments too. Right. That's great. And for a young program to do that is really impressive. For a young program to win in the margins is really impressive. Now, you've got to win the whole game. And you can't just win in the margins. To me, this has to be, you kind of rise the tide. And the entire team just has to take a step forward so that these one-possession wins over Rice are becoming comfortable wins. So that these games where you are winning by making one or two plays, instead, you're winning because you're the better team.
Yeah.
That sounds generic, and I want to be as specific as possible, but I think that is one of the hallmarks of a Seth Littrell coach team, is that's one of the things, is that they did little things well.
Yeah.
We'll get to another thing they didn't do so well, but that is one thing they need to do, is just kind of rise the tide, take the step forward that we expect a young team to take in a second year on their new coach. Number 2, clean it up. This is one of the things that they did not do well, a little thing they did not do well. They were one of the most penalized teams in the nation last year, 118th in penalty yardage per game. They were one of the most penalized teams in the nation. And again, that is the hallmark of a young team. That is the hallmark of a team that played a lot of sophomores, that played some freshmen, that played a lot of underclassmen. You expect that to a certain extent. Now, that's not an excuse.
No.
You still shouldn't be committing, 8 penalties a game or however much it was. I had it up here in a moment. You shouldn't be doing that. But that is the kind of thing that, again, you expect a young program take a step forward and clean that up.
Yeah.
And if you do that, all of a sudden, then those margins get wider again. So this is all about margins to me that represent North Texas. And number 3, strength up the middle. You can draw a straight line between a number of things. North Texas was a bad team against the run last year. They gave up 5.3 yards per carry. It's 109th in the nation. Not good. Okay? You can draw a straight line between that and the fact that they were terrible in third down defense. 49%, almost 50% of third downs were converted. To put that in perspective, the number 1 team in the nation last year was Michigan, 21%. Okay? And again, like we were talking yesterday with UTEP, this isn't a situation, this doesn't have to do with stopping them on third down.
Right.
Third down conversion is only partly about third down. It's about first and second. And it's about making sure that they're facing 3rd and 8 and not 3rd and 2.
Yep.
Because if they're picking up 5.3 yards per carry, it's going to be easy. You extrapolate that out. First down, 5 yards. Second down, 4 yards. All of a sudden, it's 3rd and 1, and guess what? They are going to convert that.
Right.
So it has to start up the middle. They're losing Courtney Finney and Fred Scott at the linebacker spot. And I think that it's going to be critical for guys like Brandon Carner and Joshua Wheeler to have a big year. Right. But if there is one dude, if there's one guy that you...
I wonder who you're going to say.
That you have to... I don't know, who am I saying?
English?
No.
Oh, really?
Well, it could be English.
Okay.
It could be English. But they've got another guy.
Okay.
Look, we expect Bryce English to come in, jump in, be the guy at the nose tackle position. Roderick Young, their nose tackle, who was pretty good for them last year, he needs to be as good. I mean, Bryce English is going to be great, right? We think so. But Bryce English is probably also not a 3-down guy. Okay? They've got to have depth at the nose tackle position when you run the 3-4 and when they're gashing you up the middle. It's up to you to clog the middle.
Right.
Bryce English and Roderick Young have to have big years. If they have big years, then all of a sudden a lot of things get easier and those margins get wider. And then all of a sudden we're not talking about a 5-7 team with a win over Bethune-Cookman getting into a bowl game. We're talking about a good team that maybe if you dream on them, again, we talked about it with UTEP, Conference USA, especially Conference USA West.
You can win that division.
Nothing special.
No.
It's winnable.
Yeah.
I'm not here predicting that North Texas is going to win Conference USA West. What I will say is it would not surprise me if we're talking in October about how they're in the hunt.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. Those are the 3 things that North Texas has to do to succeed in 2017.